everyone, and welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, my name's Alexa Ray, and welcome to another video. I'm so glad you guys are here, and by the title of today's video, you already know what we're doing. We are going to be tier ranking BookTok books today. I am so freaking excited. I have seen these videos circulate on YouTube for the past few months, and I've wanted to make one so badly, but I wanted to wait until I read like a good amount of books. I feel like I'm finally ready. I've read almost like 40 books this year, so I feel like I am ready to take on tier ranking BookTok books. I took about 40 really popular BookTok books and put them into a tier ranking list. That is what we're going to be doing today. I am so freaking excited. Before we jump into the video, I just want to put a disclaimer. These are all my personal opinions. So with that being said, please don't come for me. But I'm really excited to be doing this video today. Let's jump into the video. Really quick, before we jump into ranking BookTok, I just want to take a moment to thank the sponsor of today's video, which is Liquid IV. If you're not familiar, Liquid IV specializes in making drink mixes to help support better health. Basically, it just makes it super easy for people to create healthier lifestyles. Their hydration multiplier is my absolute favorite because it hydrates faster than drinking water alone. Trying to create healthier habits in my life, I'm not really good with drinking a lot of water and liquid throughout the day. I'm actually like really bad with it. So Liquid IV is my absolute favorite because it hydrates faster than drinking water alone, and it also comes in so many amazing flavors. My two favorite flavors are their passion fruit and their tangerine flavor, and it's so much better than drinking boring water. So Liquid IV totally comes in clutch with their hydration multiplier. They come in these cute little pouches, and all you have to do is mix it in with 16 ounces of water and you're good to go. Their hydration multiplier gives you 3 times the amount of electrolytes compared to a normal sports drink, which I think is really cool because sports drinks just have so many unnecessary sugars in them that I just don't want to be drinking all the time. And the hydration multiplier also has 5 essential vitamins in it, including B3, B5, B6, B12, and vitamin C. So vitamin B is really good for taking your food and turning it into energy, and then vitamin C is really good for protecting your body and just keeping you healthy. If you guys want to try out Liquid IV for yourself, you can use my code right on the screen, or you can use it in the description box down below, and you get 15% off your first order as well as free shipping. Thank you so much again to Liquid IV for sponsoring today's video. Let's jump into tier ranking BookTok books. Here is the tier list that I put together for you guys today. We have 7 tiers, the top being the best, the bottom being the lowest. So right at the top, we have Would Sell My Soul to Experience This for the First Time Again. So these are going to be books that I absolutely freaking love. I would do anything, literally anything, to experience them for the first time again. They're books that are just beyond 5 stars for me and just like my all-time favorite books. Next we have Loved This but Wouldn't Sell My Soul for It. So these are really good books, like 4 to 5 star reads, but I wouldn't sell my soul for them. Next we have Enjoyable but Forgettable. These are books that I did really like, so like 3 to 4 star reads, but I don't remember like every single detail in them, and I don't like care to remember every single detail. Next we have Did I Like It? Would I recommend it? Sure, possibly. These are books that I personally didn't enjoy myself, but I'd still recommend them to people depending on the genre and the trope. Personally, I don't like the friends to lovers trope as much, but someone who really likes the friends to lovers trope, I might recommend them a few books that I have read in the past that I think they would like, but I didn't personally like. Next we have We Are Not Talking About This One. These are books that I just don't like, that I don't want to talk about anymore about not liking, because you guys have probably heard me talk about how much I dislike these books a billion times on my channel already. Then we have I Don't Know About This One. These are books that I haven't read yet that are pretty popular, but I just don't know if I'll ever get around to reading them depending on the genre and the trope. I just don't know if I'll ever get around to reading them. That doesn't mean I won't ever read them. I just don't know yet. And then last but not least, we have my TBR. These are all the books that I have not yet read that I do plan on reading, that I'm really excited to read. And yeah, those are my 7 tiers. And then right down here, I have 43 very popular BookTok books. And we're gonna jump right into this. So we're gonna jump right into this. We have 43 amazing books to go through. The first one we have is The Love Hypothesis by Ali Hazelwood. If you guys have been around for a hot minute, you already know. You know I am huge on The Love Hypothesis. It's one of my favorite romances ever, honestly. I love Ali Hazelwood as an author. I think she has such a great writing style. It's super easy to follow. out. I just love everything about this book. It's a grumpy meets sunshine trope, a fake dating trope, women in STEM, university romance. I've also read a lot of things how this is a fanfic based off of Star Wars between Kylo Ren and Rey, which I absolutely love. Adam Carlson is based off of Adam Driver. He is everything in this book. He is perfect. I love his character so freaking much. Definitely one of like my top tier book boyfriends of all time. But with that being said, The Love Hypothesis definitely goes in the very top tier. I would definitely sell my soul to experience this book again. It is one of my all-time favorite romances. Next up we have Ugly Love by Colleen Hoover. If you're new to my channel, I am huge on Colleen Hoover books. I've read like a good chunk of her book, and one of the last tier ranking videos I actually did was ranking her books. So if you're interested in something like that, definitely go check out my previous video. Ugly Love was like the second or third book I ever read of hers. It was like the second or third reading vlog I ever did on my channel. It just has a really special place in my heart. I know so many people have mixed feelings about this. They have mixed feelings about Miles. I definitely have those mixed feelings about him throughout the story, but at the same time, like, I really loved his character development in this book. I don't know, this is one of my favorite Colleen Hoover books. This is a book that I would sell my soul to experience again for the first time. I blame it on it being like one of the first Colleen Hoover books I ever read. It just has a special place in my heart. It's something that I will always freaking love. I'll go back and reread this. I actually want to go back and annotate this. It's one of the books that I want to annotate on my channel. Next up we have Beautiful World, Where Are You by Sally Rooney. I have not yet read this book, but I do have it. I did pick it up a few weeks ago and it is on my TBR list. I'm super excited. I was so drawn to the cover of this. I just love like how simple but aesthetic it looked. I will say that Sally Rooney is an iffy author for me because her writing style is really weird. We'll get into that a little bit later. Right after that we have Conversations with Friends, also by Sally Rooney and also on my TBR list. I recently picked this up as well with the other one. This one I just see so many good things about. So many people love this book and rave about it. Then we have Malibu Rising by Taylor Jenkins Reid, another book on my TBR list, another book I recently picked up. I love Taylor Jenkins Reid. One of my favorite books of hers is The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. It is like one of my all-time favorite books. I just loved the story of it and Evelyn Hugo as a character. It was just such a cool freaking read. And it also goes side by side with Daisy Jones and the Six, which I recently read back in like April or May, I believe. This tells the story of McReva's family, who is also in Daisy Jones and the Six. So I was really drawn to this because I think it'd be really cool to see like his story. Then we have Normal People, another book by Sally Rooney. This book I actually did read a little bit of. I didn't get too far in it. I am hoping to go back and hopefully finish it. It's really not my favorite and the writing style is really weird for me. Makes me nervous to read her other books, but I don't know. I guess we'll see. I'm gonna put this in the I don't know about this one just because like I really don't know when I'll go back and pick this up again. I really didn't like the first 50 pages of this. I couldn't keep up with the story because the writing style was so weird for me. So I don't know about this one. Next up we have People We Meet on Vacation by Emily Henry. Yeah, we're not gonna talk about it. Then we have Book Lovers, also by Emily Henry. I am putting this in my TBR. I hear really good things about this book, so I do want to give it a chance. Even though I disliked People We Meet on Vacation so much, I'm giving her another chance. I just really didn't like her writing style in People We Meet on Vacation, and it was a really slow read for me. I just couldn't get into it at all. Then we have It Ends With Us by Colleen Hoover. This was the first ever Coho book I ever read of hers. So many people love this book. The second one is coming out, I believe, October. This book, like going into it, I was absolutely obsessed with it. And then as it kept going, it just kept breaking my heart more and more. I think I'm gonna put this in the loved this but wouldn't sell my soul for it tier just because I did enjoy this book. I think I gave it like a 4.5 rating, but it's not something I would sell my soul for because it broke my heart so much. I do love the story of Lily and Atlas. Ryle, we're not gonna talk about him. Like, we're just gonna forget he existed. Then we have The Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid. You guys already know, I already said it. I would absolutely sell my soul to experience this book again. This was such an amazing read. It's one of my favorite books by her. You go through time with Evelyn Hugo, watch her rise to stardom in Hollywood. It's like the coolest read and coolest book ever. On her way to fame, she marries 7 different people and you kind of go through each husband and time period and you kind of see how she grows from them and how she changes, stuff like that. I love the romance in here. It's like a forbidden type of love. Absolutely beautiful. I would do anything to reread this again for the first time. We have a few Colleen Hoover books coming up, of course, naturally. The first one is Reminders of Him. It's one of my favorite Colleen Hoover books. Honestly, I don't even think I have many Colleen Hoover books that I don't like. I think there's like only 2 books of hers that I didn't like, but Reminders of Him is one of my favorite Colleen Hoover books. It's just absolutely beautiful. It tells the story of a mother who's fighting to be in her child's life. The romance in this is absolutely beautiful and so crazy. If you're familiar with Colleen Hoover, you already know she writes like the craziest plot twists, the craziest storyline. She writes the best characters, I have to say. I fall in love with every single one of her characters. I would probably place this one in the loved this but wouldn't sell my soul for it. It's not like the first Colleen Hoover book that I would go back and reread and annotate and really take my time with. Next up we have November 9th by Colleen Hoover. I absolutely loved this book. It's in the same universe as Ugly Love, so you actually do see Tate and Miles reappear in this book. This one is really, really interesting. Basically what happens in this is Fallon and Ben decide to meet on November 9th every year for about 6 years. Ben uses this to write a story, and Fallon and him just get to reconnect every year, catch up, talk about how their life has changed, stuff like that. It's a really, really beautiful romance and story. I could not believe how crazy this one is. It's definitely one that is engraved in my mind. I remember so many quotes from this book, and the storyline is absolutely beautiful. Okay, I'm gonna put it in the first tier because I would go back and reread it, and I want to annotate it. I want to like draw on it, so I guess I'll put it in the first tier. I think I would sell my soul for it, but next up we have Verity, which is also by Colleen Hoover. This is a thriller romance book. This book was very weird and not what I expected it to be. Loan Ashley is like a small, struggling writer, and she basically takes over writing these really popular books for Verity Crawford, who gets really ill all of a sudden and she can't finish them herself. Loan moves in to Verity's house while Verity's sick, and it's like a really weird, twisted romance in it all. Definitely not like my favorite Coho book or like really my favorite book at all. I think it was like my first thriller type of book though, so I think that could say something about it. I'm gonna put it in the middle tier. Did I like it and would I recommend it? Probably. I do think it's a really cool book and I know a lot of people love it. Next up we have The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. This book I think has a beautiful cover. I absolutely love it. We're not gonna talk about it just because we're not gonna talk about it. I think going into it, I just wasn't prepared for that type of read, and I do hear a lot of people say that like the audiobook is so much better. Next up we have All Your Perfects, another Coho book. It was enjoyable, but I definitely forgot like most of the story. It wasn't my favorite Colleen Hoover book. It's another book though I would like to go in and reread and give another try. I just feel like I didn't follow the story really well, and it wasn't like my favorite romance either, so I remember liking some parts, I just can't remember anything else about it. Then we have A Good Girl's Guide to Murder by Holly Jackson. This was a mystery read for me. It was my first one ever, I believe, and I did it in like a 24-hour reading blog, which was super fun. I'm gonna place this in the love this but wouldn't sell my soul for it tier. I really liked this book, and I do have the next 2 books in the series that I'm excited to give a try, but because it's a mystery and I usually just read romance books, I wouldn't sell my soul for it, which I feel like is very understandable. But this was a really good book, and being that I'm such a hardcore romance reader, I did really enjoy this, and I am really excited to read the next 2 in the series. Next up we have The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren. I just recently read this and did a vlog for it. I was so surprised at how much I enjoyed it. I was kind of nervous because I thought that it was going to be like one of those overly hyped BookTok books, but I did actually really love this. It's an enemies to lovers trope, which is my favorite trope of all time. I love enemies to lovers. I love fake dating. So I am gonna put this in the love this but wouldn't sell my soul for it. I really did love this book, but I do think there could have been a little bit more to the enemies to lovers trope in it. I just kind of wish we saw a little bit more fighting or bickering in it. I didn't really like Ethan's character towards the end of this book. He just kind of disappointed me, so that's why I wouldn't like sell my soul for it. It was still a really, really good read, and it's perfect for the summertime. Next up we have The Spanish Love Deception. This book is literally everywhere. Everyone recommends me this on my channel. Everyone raves about it. I do hear really mixed reviews occasionally. There's always those few people who would comment in my videos saying that it was like the worst read ever. They didn't like it. It was super slow and boring. With that being said, this has been on my TBR for like the past like 4 or 5 months and I haven't read it yet. There's just always another book that I want to read next instead of this one, so don't get mad at me. I'm gonna put this in the I don't know tier because I really don't know when I'm gonna get around to reading this. I want to read it. I want to do a reading vlog for you guys with it, but I just don't know when I'm gonna do it. Next up we have Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren. Another Christina Lauren book, another summer book. My book cover is a little bit different from this one right here. I am obsessed with this one so much. I think it's so pretty. It has like all these little drawings around it. This is a friends to lovers trope. It's my least favorite trope, but this book made me believe in it again. I actually really enjoyed this book. I enjoyed the storyline, the characters, the friends to lovers trope. Surprisingly, I actually didn't mind it in this. I do think Christina Lauren has a really easygoing writing style, and that's why I like her so much as an author. I am going to put this in the second tier. I loved it. I wouldn't sell my soul for it. I think it's beautiful, amazing. I know everyone says this is like their favorite book of all time. It's definitely like one of my favorite book covers of all time though. Next up we have It Happened One Summer by Tessa Bailey. This was my first ever Tessa Bailey read. It's the perfect summer read and I was so obsessed with it. It's like an opposites attract type of trope and almost like an enemies to lovers trope, but not enemies to lovers. I do think it's a little bit of a slower read. Like it wasn't until about halfway through that I was like really into it and I just like finished it in one sitting then, but it was so good. I love this. I wouldn't sell my soul for it. I would reread this though. I absolutely love the characters. I loved the romance. This one was really good. I also really loved all the side characters in this book. Usually when I read books, I don't care too much about the side characters. In this one, it really gets you hooked on all the side characters and you fall in love with literally everyone. Then we have Archer's Voice by Mia Sheridan. You guys already know. I would sell my soul to experience this book again for the first time. This is my favorite book probably of all time at the moment. It's my favorite book of 2022. It's my favorite book of all time. I cannot stop talking about this book on my channel. If you've been around for a while, you've already heard me talk about this probably 100 times in every video. It's one of the top 100 romance novels of all time on Goodreads and everything about it is absolutely perfect. Archer Hale is probably my favorite book boyfriend of all time. He is so sweet and perfect. Him and Bree's relationship throughout the story is absolutely beautiful. The story is basically about like two broken people who find each other and help each other become whole again, and it's just it's so good and the plot twist in it is so freaking crazy. Next up we have Red, White, and Royal Blue. This book has been recommended to me so many times on my channel since like the beginning of my booktube channel. Guys, I don't know about this one. I do not yet own it and I just don't know when I'll buy it. I don't know if I'll read it, or if I do read it, I don't know when I'll read it. It's not at the top of my TBR list at the moment. Then we have Where the Crawdads Sing. This is another I don't know one for me. I just don't know. I know the film just came out recently and it looks amazing. Like I would love to see the film. The genre for me, just I don't know. It's not my typical reading genre. So next up we have Confess, another Coho book. If you've been around for a minute, you know this is one of my favorite Coho books of all time. It tells the story of a girl who moves to Dallas to kind of pick up the pieces of her life. When she moves to Dallas, she winds up getting a job at this art studio called Confess. It's owned by this guy named Owen, and basically what Owen does is he takes people's confessions and turns them into artwork and then sells them. The romance in it is super good, but I definitely enjoyed the art aspect of it, and then like all the secrets that came out. The way that Auburn and Owen are connected to each other is absolutely wild. Like Colleen Hoover just writes the craziest stories. I can't even explain her books because like they're just so crazy. But with that being said, I would definitely put Confess in the top tier. I would sell my soul over and over again to experience this book for the first time. It was so beautiful. It's definitely one of my favorite Colleen Hoover books of all time. Honestly, I would even put it above Ugly Love. Like this is such an underrated Colleen Hoover book. I recommended. Next up we have A Court of Thorns and Roses by Sarah Maas. This book I've literally had for like 2-3 years. Like I bought this book a really long time ago and I have not yet read it, and I'm seeing a lot of people lately tell me to give it a try. It's amazing. I don't know. So I really don't know when I will pick this up and give it a try. I just don't know yet. Next up we have Twisted Love by Anna Hong. I see so many mixed reviews on these books. Some people really love them. Some people don't really like them. They think they're kind of bland and boring. Personally, the chokehold it has on me, okay? So Alex and Ava, their relationship, this is a brother's best friend trope. This is an enemies to lovers trope. I was obsessed with this, okay? Don't come for me. I feel like so many people say they like hate this book and don't like see the point in them. I absolutely loved it. Twisted Love, I would 100%, I would sell my soul. I would sell my soul for that book and the whole series over and over again. Next up we have The Fine Print. This is book 1 in the Dreamland Billionaires series. I actually picked up book 1 and 2 like the other day. I'm so freaking excited. This series is in my TBR. I am planning to read it in the month of September and I'm so freaking excited. I hear so many amazing things about this series. Next up we have Things We Never Got Over. This book I am starting to see everywhere. Like everyone is obsessed with it. It is on my TBR. I haven't picked it up yet, but I am hoping to pick it up soon and give it a try. Next up we have The Summer I Turned Pretty by Jenny Han. This is the same author who also wrote To All the Boys I Loved Before. Both series are also like TV shows on Netflix and Amazon. I did enjoy the book. I think it is the perfect like beach summer read. This is basically like every trope roped into one. If you ask me, it's a love triangle, it's an enemies to lovers, it's a friends to lovers. I am going to put this in the enjoyable but forgettable tier just because I liked it, but I wouldn't go back and reread it. Like it's not my favorite. Next up we have We Were Liars by E. Lockhart. This book has been everywhere for so long. It's another book I have owned for way too long and I have not yet read it. Everyone recommends this book. A lot of people on my channel say very negative things about this book. Don't know when I will get around to reading it. I hear it is a really confusing, slow read until the very end. When you get to the end, it's really cool and everything makes sense and it makes the book amazing. I just don't know if I can wait 250 pages for the big surprise at the end. Next up we have One of Us is Lying. This book has been on my TBR for so long. I finally picked it up the other day. I'm hoping to read it in the month of September, maybe in October, depending on how I feel. If I want to put this in like a spooky readathon vlog. I am so excited. It is definitely going on my TBR list. Next we have The Inheritance Games by Jennifer Lynn Barnes. I would 100% sell my soul to experience it again for the first time. Every inch of this book I'm obsessed with. It's like engraved in my mind. It is definitely a book that I am planning on going back in and annotating. I'm obsessed with Jameson, Grayson, Avery. The whole mystery is just freaking wild. Book 2 is even crazier. I have always been team Grayson. I'm still team Grayson. Next up we have Shatter Me. This is a huge book series. I recently picked this up and I'm so freaking excited to read it. It is on my TBR list. I am hoping to read it probably like in September or October. I hear such amazing things about this series and I cannot freaking wait. Then we have Love and Gelato. This is another really cute summer read. It tells the story of a girl who goes to Italy to stay with her mom's friend. She basically goes through Italy doing all the things that her mother did when she was her age, and she finds herself, she finds love, and of course gelato. This was a really cute read. I like the idea that it took place in Italy. I would have to put this though in the enjoyable but forgettable tier. I loved it. I just wish there was like more to it. They also just turned this into a Netflix film, so if you read this, definitely go check out the film. I feel like Netflix did like the characters so dirty and they changed a lot of the story. I didn't really like it that much, but there is a film if you want to go check it out. Next up we have The Cruel Prince by Holly Black. This book I have had for so freaking long. I have not yet read it, but I promise it's going on my TBR. I am hoping to read it next month in September. I hear amazing things about this series. People rave about it. Following that we have Better Than the Movies by Lynn Painter, which is also on my TBR. This is like everywhere. Everyone raves about this book. I just found this book literally yesterday. I immediately picked it up. I'm so excited. I'm a huge like movie buff type of person, so I think this is gonna be like such an epic read for me. Next up we have the first book in the Off-Campus series, which is The Deal by Elle Kennedy. I read this a few weeks ago and this book, guys, the chokehold some of these books have on me. Absolutely freaking love this. Garrett Graham has my heart. I'm obsessed with it. I went out and bought the entire series after I finished this book. This is a hockey romance. I would say it's a little bit of enemies to lovers. I love that it was like a hockey romance, and I'm so excited to read the next books in the series. This was so amazing. I definitely recommend it. Next up, we have Addicted to You. This book has been the most highly requested book on my channel since day one. I could not find it anywhere. It was sold out everywhere, even online. I could not find the book, and I got my hands on one. I'm so freaking excited about it, and I'm so excited to do a reading vlog for it. I hear amazing things about this, and I can't freaking wait. The Selection by Kira Cass. I've had this book series for far too long. I have not read it yet. I don't know why. I hear amazing things, and I really want to read it. There's just always a better book that I want to pick up first. I am going to put this in my TBR. I do want to read it. I'm gonna push myself though to probably read it this upcoming fall, because I know I'm going to love it, and I know I'm gonna be obsessed with the whole thing, but I just have to push myself to read it. Putting it in my TBR. It probably should go in the I don't know tier, but I'm putting it in my TBR because I'm manifesting it. Next up, we have Daisy Jones and the Six by Taylor Jenkins Reid. I briefly talked about this earlier. As much as I really enjoyed Evelyn Hugo, I didn't enjoy Daisy Jones as much as I enjoyed Evelyn Hugo. I just kind of got bored with it. I don't know why. I did really enjoy this, but it wasn't like my favorite book. I'm gonna put it in the enjoyable but forgettable tier. Don't come for me, okay? I liked it. It's just one that I don't like care too much for. Maybe down the road I'll go back and reread it and give it another chance. Next up, we have The Hating Game by Sally Thorne. This was just recently turned into a film with Lucy Hale, which I really want to see because I love Lucy Hale. It's an enemies to lovers trope, and that's my favorite trope. I have not yet read this book, and I hear this is like the best book if you're into enemies to lovers. Manifesting it. We're gonna read this book like next month. Next up, we have You've Reached Sam by Dustin Tao. This book has been highly recommended on my channel. I have not yet read it. I did recently pick it up. I've only had it for like a few weeks now, so I don't know. This seems like such a good but such a sad read. Like, I don't know if I'm ready to read like a book like that. Please bear with me. I know so many of you have requested this as a reading vlog. I'm working on it. Last but not least, we have 1,000 Boy Kisses. This is going right into my TBR list, and I just need to buy this book already. It's one of the most highly requested books on my channel. So many people rave about it and recommend it to me. But yeah, we just went through all 43 of these books. This is what the tier list looks like. I feel like it's a pretty like even looking tier list, except for the bottom here with my TBR. I have so many books that I have to read, but they are literally all on my TBR for like the next 3 months. So we have quite a few books in the I don't know tier, which is just... Here's what I need you guys to do for today's video. I have 7 books in my I don't know tier. Convince me down below in the comments to read these books, because I feel like I need someone to literally convince me to read these books. Other than that, I think we did a pretty good job. Okay everyone, that is all for my tier ranking book talk video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you had fun. I hope you saw some books in here that you recognize, that you're familiar with. This was a super fun video to film. It's one that I wanted to film for literally months now. I feel like I've read like a good enough chunk of books that I could actually make this video. So don't forget to let me know down below why I should read those books that were in my I don't know tier, please, because I really need the push to read those books. I know they're going to be amazing books, and I know I'm going to love them, but I just like need that push. If you like this video, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up, because it really helps me out, lets me know that you like these types of videos, you like my tier ranking videos, my reading vlogs, my bookstore vlogs, all that super fun book related content. And then of course, don't forget to subscribe down below if you'd like to see more of me, because I post every single week, guys, and sometimes I post more than once a week, more than twice a week. It really just depends on the week and what's going on in my life, but I try to upload as much as I can for you guys. But with all that being said, I'm gonna wrap up the video. I have to go put away my mess of books that I used for the video. But with all that being said, I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll see you in my next video.